President-elect Trump, guys, he just confirmed that Liz Cheney could be in a lot of trouble based on the evidence that is obtained by the subcommittee, which states that numerous federal laws are likely broken by Liz Cheney, and these violations should be investigated by the FBI. Thank you to Congressman Barry Loudermilk on a job well done. Newsmax by Greg Kelly. And we have the text to prove it. The interim report shows text between star witness Cassidy Hutchinson and Alyssa Farrah Griffin, another former White House aide, and accuses Farrah Griffin of acting as a back channel between the two women. Let's go ahead and read some of it, shall we? From Hutchinson. I know you're busy, but is there a chance you've touched base with anyone about what we talked about Tuesday night? And Farrah Griffin replies, hey, yes. So I reached out to Liz. She agreed to keep our convo totally confidential. She said that she admires you and could tell that you wanted to do the right thing from your testimony. Her one concern was so long as you have counsel, she can't really ethically talk to you without him. But what she suggests is a follow-up with you, with your lawyer that she and Dan George can lead. Probably can do without other members in temp. Does all that help? I can tell she really wants to work with you and is just trying to figure out the right way to do it. Then from Hutchinson again, I mean, do you think that this is actually of interest to her at this point, or is it moot? Like, have they moved beyond it? And finally, Farrah Griffin confirms, oh, it's very much of interest. She basically just wants to structure it in a way you are comfortable and wants to make sure it's clear. If you speak to them again, it's them asking, not you, so you don't. So what are these two talking about? Well, Hutchinson's testimony to the J6 committee that was basically the linchpin for the whole case against President-elect Trump. So just watch some of what Hutchinson told the House committee.
When you returned to the White House in the motorcade after the president's speech, where did you go?
When I returned to the White House, I walked upstairs towards the Chief of Staff's office, and I noticed Mr. Renato lingering outside of the office. And once we had made eye contact, he quickly waved me to go into his office, which was just across the hall from mine. When I went in, he shut the door, and I noticed Bobby Engel, who is the head of Mr. Trump's security detail, sitting in a chair, just looking somewhat discombobulated and a little lost. And I looked at Tony, and he had said, did you effing hear what happened in the Beast? I said, no, Tony, I just got back. What happened? Tony proceeded to tell me that when the president got in the Beast, he was under the impression from Mr. Meadows that the off-the-record movement to the Capitol was still possible and likely to happen, but that Bobby had more information. So once the president had gotten into the vehicle with Bobby, he thought that they were going up to the Capitol, and when Bobby had relayed to him, we're not, we don't have the assets to do it, it's not secure, we're going back to the West Wing. The president had very strong, a very angry response to that. Tony described him as being irate. The president said something to the effect of, I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now. To which Bobby responded, sir, we have to go back to the West Wing. The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol. Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel, and when Mr. Renato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
Even apart from the report, the agent that she was talking about denied this testimony. So why aren't they charging her for false testimony yet? Do we have to wait for Trump's inauguration on January 20th? Because let me tell you guys, this Republican J6 counter report, it could be the smoking gun that we needed to take down Liz Cheney and the whole rest of the Washington swamp. Here, watch this.
The new House GOP report recommending a criminal investigation into former Congresswoman Liz Cheney for her role in leading the now disbanded House Select Committee that investigated the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol.
She's going to fight back. Liz Cheney is a fighter.
The 128-page report published Tuesday digs into the Select Committee's investigation and its hearings that took place in the summer of 2022. The report calling this select committee a multi-million-dollar political weapon with a singular focus to deceive the public into blaming President Trump for the violence on January 6th.
The mob was accomplishing President Trump's purpose So, of course, he didn't intervene.
As for Liz Cheney, the report claiming she broke numerous federal laws, and these violations should be investigated by the FBI. Cheney accused of witness tampering for the relationship she developed with Trump White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson, a star witness in the hearings.
That evening was the first moment that I remember feeling scared and nervous for what could happen on January 6th.
Hutchinson's lawyer responding, refuting the claims, maintaining she made independent decisions and stands by her testimony. Cheney defending herself, releasing a statement saying the new report intentionally disregards the truth and the Select Committee's tremendous weight of evidence, adding, January 6th showed Donald Trump for who he really is, a cruel and vindictive man.
Wow, so Liz Cheney is calling Trump a vindictive man. Everyone knows that she supported Harris because Trump caused her to lose her Congress seat. Seriously, they should definitely look into locking up Liz Cheney and putting her in the same prison with political prisoners that she violated. I mean, seriously, what this report from House Representative Loudermilk is that you may be able to delete data, you may be able to shred papers, you may be able to speak falsehoods, but you could never run from karma. You know what I mean? Just look at what they were able to find out. Number one, former Representative Liz Cheney colluded with star witness Cassidy Hutchinson without Hutchinson's attorney's knowledge. Number two, former Representative Liz Cheney should be investigated for the potential criminal witness tampering based on the new information about her communication. Number three, Cassidy Hutchinson's most outrageous claims lacked any evidence, and the Select Committee had knowledge that her claims were false when they publicly promoted her. President Trump did not attack his Secret Service detail at any time on January 6th. President Trump did not have intelligence indicating violence on the morning of January 6th. Cassidy Hutchinson falsely claimed to have drafted a handwritten note for President Trump on January 6th. Representative Cheney and Cassidy Hutchinson blamelessly attempted to disbar Hutchinson's former attorney. As they said in the report, Speaker Nancy Pelosi's multi-million-dollar Select Committee was a political weapon with a singular focus to deceive the public into blaming President Trump for the violence on January 6th to tarnish the legacy of the former president. And it's not just witness tampering, guys. GOP lawmakers also accused the January 6th committee, chaired by Representative Benny Thompson, of deleting evidence it gathered. Not to mention, the Biden administration has considered granting preemptive pardons to so-called Trump targets, including Cheney. Trump targets? Do you mean guilty people? Because why else would Biden give them a preemptive pardon? Man, I just can't wait for President Trump to return back to the Oval Office. Already he's kicking ass and taking names even before his inauguration. He sued the Des Moines Register and its former top pollster just a few days ago over a shock poll that showed him on track to lose Iowa to Vice President Kamala Harris. Oh, and let's not forget about ABC and George Stephanopoulos agreed to a $15 million defamation settlement in a lawsuit with the president-elect over their lies against him. That includes publishing an official apology from the network and their star host. Trump's on a roll again, guys. So what do you guys think? Should Cheney and the J6 committee be the first people to be investigated and indicted when Trump returns to the White House? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button to show your support. Also, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and tapping that notification bell in case you have not already. That way you guys can get all the updates as soon as I drop them. All right. So yeah, they're calling this the interim report on the failures and politicization of the January 6th Select Committee. Now, apart from the first three that I shared earlier, here's what else in the report that I found. Number four, the former Representative Liz Cheney used the January 6th Select Committee as a tool to attack President Trump at the cost of investigative integrity and Capitol security. Needless to say, that would be a massive misuse of power, and it just shows how deeply biased the J6 Select Committee was against our president-elect. The January 6th Select Committee was improperly constituted and lacked authority. This raises huge questions about the legitimacy of the committee's work and findings. Now, if they weren't properly authorized, that puts everything that followed into serious question. Number six, the January 6th Select Committee, it neglected or withheld evidence from its final report and deleted voluminous records it should have preserved. What are they trying to hide? In short, all along, they've been picking and choosing what to show the public. Are we really surprised? No, not really. This is the party of deception and gaslighting that we're talking about here. So I really wouldn't put it past them to do this sort of thing. Am I right? All right, so let's go to the next thing. Number 7, the Department of Defense scapegoated the Washington, D.C. National Guard to distract blame from senior leadership. Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller dismissed President Trump's order prior to January 6 to use any and all military assets to keep the demonstration safe. Secretary of the Army Ryan McCarthy intentionally delayed the D.C.'s National Guard's response to the Capitol on January 6 despite authorization. The Department of Defense Inspector General published a flawed report containing fabrications and ignored relevant information. The Department of Defense and the Department of Defense Inspector General knowingly and inaccurately placed blame on D.C. National Guard leadership for the delayed response on January 6. The Department of Defense Inspector General was not responsive to the subcommittee's request and even obstructed the subcommittee's investigation. The subcommittee detected an inappropriately close relationship between the Department of Defense and its watchdog Inspector General. So, what does all of this say? Well, basically, this is a bombshell implying a major breakdown in how the events of January 6th were handled and reported. Number 8, the FBI and the Capitol Police, they both failed to investigate the individuals responsible for building fake gallows on Capitol grounds on January 6th. So instead of owning up to their mistakes, these Biden agencies, they chose to let the J6 subcommittee pin the blame on President-elect Trump. This is just criminal negligence, if you ask me. Now, in summary, the report really just concluded that based on the evidence obtained by this subcommittee, numerous federal laws were likely broken by Liz Cheney, the former vice chair of the January 6th Select Committee, and these violations should be investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. See, what really seals the deal here is the criminal offense of tampering with at least one witness, Cassidy Hutchinson, by secretly communicating with Hutchinson without Hutchinson's attorney's knowledge. You heard her testimony earlier. Hutchinson, who worked as an aide to Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, had alleged to the Select Committee that was on January 6, 2021. She told Trump became irate and attempted to join supporters at the Capitol ahead of them breaching the government building. She also alleged that she was told Trump attempted to grab the steering wheel of a Secret Service SUV before the driver reportedly told Trump to remove his hand and that they were headed for the White House, not the Capitol. But this account from Hutchinson was directly refuted by Anthony Ornato, who served as White House Deputy Chief of Staff for operations under Trump after decades in the Secret Service. And it doesn't stop there, guys. Less than 2 weeks after firing her original attorney and hiring the attorney's representative, Cheney suggested Hutchinson set for her 4th transcribed interview with the Select Committee under what they described as unusual circumstances. You see, according to this new report, prior to this interview, nearly every interview the Select Committee conducted included approximately a dozen people, including committee staff members, committee counsel, often a member of the Select Committee, the interviewee's legal representation. Most of the interviews were done in large conference rooms or over Zoom, allowing space for all participants. Hutchinson's 4th transcribed interview, however, was vastly different. It consisted of only 4 people, Representative Cheney, one attorney from the Select Committee, Hutchinson, and Hutchinson's new counsel. Additionally, instead of Select Committee conducting the interview in a conference room or virtually, Representative Cheney used her private hideaway inside of the United States Capitol building. So what does that say to you guys? Definitely something's going on here. You know what this is saying to me? That we were right all along, that President-elect Trump was a victim of proven conspiracy by Democrats and anti-Trumpers. Trump derangement syndrome is effectively alive and well. Well, I'm just glad that the American people were not listening to these fools. 77 million Americans showed up for President-elect Trump, and you can be sure we'll stand with him until Inauguration Day and beyond, right? Just drop a quick yes in the comments down below, hit the subscribe button for more updates like this one, and don't forget to hit that notification bell either, guys. That way you can get our breakdowns and analyses just like this one sent straight to your devices. Now, speaking of, we got other great videos on the channel for you guys to check out. You should definitely check out our latest one on President Biden breaking down on live TV. Guys, this was a real eye-opener for sure. But of course, we got the footage. So make sure to check that video out right after this one. As always, thanks so much for hitting the like button and subscribing. See you guys on the next one.